Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at some gameplay that got sent to me with a Fully XL Baxcalibur. I most likely know already what kind of comments that we're going to get here for that one. But yeah, it's definitely a little bit difficult to get this Pokemon like this already, but it's not impossible, especially now where Rex Alkani's been available for a lot of time. People can use it for this kind of Pokemon, as well as for people that live in a bigger city that especially has a map, which allows them to see Pokemon spawns way better. It's of course possible to get this Pokemon without any cheating or anything like this, so I wouldn't really want to see any comments towards that one. But today we're going to take a look at the Fully XL variant here, level 50, 100% Baxcalibur in the Open Master League, as we're going to now see here also a team with Ho-Oh as well as the Kyogre in the back. We're going to see a shield coming up here against a rock set from the Excador, which is going to be fine for you, as you can now go for a full farm down with the Ho-Oh, which will allow you to go for another charge move against the incoming Dragonite, which is going to use a shield against you, which is interesting, but you should most likely use a shield here as well, as you now can farm them all the way down, go for a big charge move against whatever comes back in the back here. It's going to be the Metagross, and we're going to see an easy one-shot from the Ho-Oh with just one Sacred Fire winning this first game. Of course, it's definitely a little bit difficult to get this Pokemon, but I wouldn't really want to assume that people are cheating just based on Pokemon that they have, because there are definitely ways of getting those Pokemon legit. So yeah, just my opinion onto it. Like, if you have a different opinion, definitely you can do that. But we're going to see here right now a bait coming through, which I don't know if you really need to do this, but you're going to be able to get the shield, which is nice for you, as you can now go for another Brave Bird, which is going to get the knockout against the opponent's Guard Jump, allowing you to swap out into your Baxcalibur, which is going to be your say-swap of this team. Getting out the Metagross of the opponent, which will allow you to also line your Kyogre later on, which is going to be very good for you, as you can let this move go through. You can even go into your Ho-Oh right now, because it's going to be the best matchup for your Ho-Oh, and you're going to get some value out of this Pokemon here right now, which is going to be nice. Yes, exactly, great play there. And we will see right now that you can go for the full farm down against the opponent. You don't have to shield this one. I would not recommend you to shield this one. I would just keep the shield for the Kyogre, but it does not really matter too much, as you maybe even can get attack drop here, which I guess you're trying to fish for, which you're gonna get, which is, I guess, rewarding for you, as you're now gonna go down from just one rock slide. But of course, your Kyogre going to have a great time against the Excadrill, as we will see here. The Drill Run coming through from you, which from the opponent here, of course, which doesn't do any damage, especially after the debuff, and you will be easily able to win this game. As we can see, the next game coming up going to be the Dialga in the lead. We're gonna now most likely see that you're staying in here as the opponent's Dialga. I think actually your legendaries are not completely Fully XL. I think they're both very close to being Fully XL though, but you will go for the Sacred Fire against the opponent's Dialga, which is gonna do some decent damage. Gonna get the attack drop, of course, here, which is going to be nice, and you can now get to the next one, I think, in time. I think this is just an Iron Head here, I'm fairly certain, and yeah, you could have let this move go through, because after this, I don't know if you're going to still get to another move. If you get the drop here again, I think you're going to be fine, but you are not gonna get the drop. But you're still going to outspeed them? No, you're not. They're gonna go for a charge move first. Going to be the Iron Head, which now can knock you out, and you definitely should have tried to save your other shield prior. As you go ahead and go into your Kyogre, not sure if I agree with this play, but I hope that you can just farm down before they can go for a Draco. There's just an Iron Head here again, which is cool. And we're gonna see now the Origin Pulse landing against the opponent. This is amazing for you to get out the Fairy type Pokemon right now. It's going to be so beneficial for you, as you can now go even for a full farm down. We see the Evalta coming in, and we're going to see the Origin Pulse coming through as well soon, but now we're going to see the swap into the Baxcalibur, allowing you to take a Dark Pulse. Of course, you can even take another Dark Pulse here, but the Focus Blast would be a little bit scary, but you can still reach the Avalanche in time. Avalanche being a Psystrike clone, doing an insane amount of damage. The Dialga comes back in, you forgot about the Dialga, it seems like, and you're going to be able to still win this game with your Baxcalibur. Next opponent, going to have the Togekiss in the lead. Great lead for you, especially in terms of aligning your fast moves here as well. Not allowing the opponent to get any free fast moves in, allowing you to just go straight for the Sacred Fire here, where you sadly don't get any debuff onto the opponent's attack. But you can shield up a potential potential Ancient Power. It was not an Ancient Power, it was the Aura Sphere, which is kind of wild. But we will see the Sacred Fire coming through, gonna get the knockout against the opponent, and the Mewtwo is swapping in with Confusion as a fast move, which is of course not ideal. I actually thought of making a video about my Shadow Mewtwo as soon as I'm going to be able to build this fully. with Confusion, because I feel like would be kind of interesting to see if Confusion on a Shadow variant actually has some play, because Confusion of course does an insane amount of damage, but you just don't generate energy as fast. But if you have like scenarios where you can just farm down opponents, I'm fairly certain that Confusion Shadow Mewtwo might be an interesting pick. Here we're going to see the Hexor is going to get the knockout against you, but it's only the Mewtwo left, and you can go for the Brave Bird in time. Okay, he's still going to be able to go for a charge move here. Brave Bird would have been already easily enough, and we're going to see the knockout here right now as we go move on into the next battle. Landorus in the lead is actually a little bit tricky for you, especially for your team. I mean, like, Kyogre is fine, but the can definitely go ahead and go for a Stone Edge here, which is going to be a little bit of an awkward one. As you're going to swap out into your Baxcalibur, being very weak against the Superpower as well as the Stone Edge is going to make this a little bit of a tough matchup, but you can shield up the first one. You could have already went for a Dragon Claw there, by the way, which would have most likely got the knockout against the opponent, but now we're going to see the Avalanche coming in here from the Baxcalibur, as we see now the Dragon Claw coming in afterwards, which is going to get already some decent damage onto the opponent. You can actually force a shield, I think, because you can still reach a move, but now the opponent throws a charge move against you, but it's still, that's going to allow you to farm them all the way down with your Ho-Oh right now, as you can take all the charge moves from the opponent's Metagross. Everything is resisted other than Psychic, which normally no one is running, and I don't expect it here either. It's an Earthquake, exactly. So now we're gonna see the Landorus coming back in. You're forced to use a shield here if you want to get your move off, because Stone Edge, of course, is going to one-shot you, as you can now go ahead and go for the Sacred Fire, getting the final shield by the opponent, and you get the attack drop, which is a little bit awkward for you right now, because now the Ho-Oh is going to go down, and you'll only have your Kyogre. But this is going to be an Yveltal. Yveltal needs 2 charge moves to knock you out, and 1 Origin Pulse. Should be it for this matchup here, as the Oblivion Wing is not going to do too much damage, and 1 more Origin Pulse. It all it takes to knock out the opponent's Yveltal is the Landorus is gonna go down here, and you can win this game. Next opponent, great lead for you again, as we're going to now see the Yveltal swapping in, where you're going to swap onto your Baxcalibur. While this is a decent one in general, they can of course have access to the move Focus Blast, but I guess nowadays Focus Blast is not as common anymore, as you now have access to the Oblivion Wing, which you kind of want to run with Dark Pulse together. So not ideal move timing here sadly, but you can still go for the Avalanche, which is going to get the shield from the opponent. I think they're kind of even in Dragon Claw range right now, but you can still even reach another Avalanche in time, which is going to get the knockout against the opponent, as they're swapping into their Xerneas, which is good for you to know, because now you can align your Pokemon perfectly. But even still, here we're gonna see now the Avalanche coming through, doing a ton of damage. You can go into a Ho-Oh right now, because you're going to be able to resist everything other than Thunder. Okay, you're gonna go into the Kyogre. You should have went to the Ho-Oh here, because, yeah, the opponent usually runs Moonblast as well as Close Combat, which does 0 damage against your Ho-Oh, even though, of course, the Groudon is getting basically get walled by both of your Pokemon in the back, so it doesn't really matter which Pokemon you have against this one. Here, getting into the Ho-Oh would have been the better play just for the future. Definitely something to improve on, but you can still just go for the full farm down. You don't have to shield here. I don't think they're running Thunder as well as Moonblast. Exactly where you should not use a shield, but you can still just go for Sacred Fire, please. That's going to be a little tough. I think you're still going to be fine, but if they would have got to Oppressor's Blade, like debuffing your defense there does not really make too much sense beforehand. Like, you're still going to be okay with that, but yeah, definitely something that I would have played completely different if I was the player there. But yeah, definitely something to improve on, as you can now see the matchup against the Zacian, which is going to be fine for you. You can take the Wild Charge. Okay, that's going to be a little bit tricky, but we see the Sacred Fire coming in, which is gonna get the attack drop onto the opponent. Did I say Sacred Sword before? I don't know. Like, Sacred Fire definitely, yeah, of course, onto the Ho-Oh. I'm a little bit confused about this right now, but we will see that you're gonna go for the full farm down, I guess, which I don't really agree with. I think you could have went for a charge move prior. Now you're going to swap out into the Baxcalibur. Now you basically use shield advantage and switch advantage at the same time, which I find a little bit risky, but you don't really get punished here, because the matchup against Mamoswine is actually fairly decent for you, as Avalanche is on both Pokemon. Avalanche is neutral on you as well here, as you're gonna get the shield from the opponent, but they're going to outspeed you to the next one, sadly, as they're going to swap out into the Kyogre for whatever reason. Okay, you don't go for the Avalanche. Avalanche just resisted. Go for the Dragon Claw. Dragon Claw would have been way better here again. Dragon Claw is neutral. Avalanche is resisted, as we're going to see most likely the Ho coming in, going for a charge move that you stored up or not. This can be a Thunder, which can be a little bit tricky. It is a Thunder, which is going to be a little bit tricky, and you're going to be forced to go for a Surfy as well. Let's see. I think you're still going to be fine, but like a lot of misplays here where you can play a little bit better. Again, here the Fire move would have been way better than the Brave Bird, because the Fire move is going to be super effective. close one there. Definitely a lot of things to improve on. Like for you, definitely there is a lot to learn still in terms of what moves do you throw, what Pokemon do you keep alive, when do you throw certain moves, stuff like this. Definitely something you can improve on for the future. And that's why I like those videos as well, where I can showcase other people's battles, because I can just show a little bit easier where like some problems might be. And here we're going to see the Scythe coming through. We're going to see the Groudon coming in. This Avalanche would do around like 90%, I would guess. So let's see if this is going to go through. It does not, sadly. I don't think we're going to see a shield here because it's going to be a Fire Punch and you're going to, yeah, sadly get knocked out from it. I want to see how much Avalanche actually does against the Groudon. I'm going to now research this at the site right quick because I'm just very curious about this kind of stuff. Baxcalibur, of course, is a very strong Pokemon in the Master League. Actually, I think ranked 20 on PE Poke, which is kind of wild. But here we're going to see a very great matchup against Groudon. Groudon in general for this team is insanely easy to deal with. All Pokemon basically have something to do for this one here. But we will see now quickly. Groudon actually takes only 68% from an Avalanche, which I did think it would be a little bit more. But Avalanche from the Baxcalibur only does 68%, which is still a lot of damage though. As you see a swap from the opponent here onto the Origin Pulse into the Mewtwo. Goodbye Mewtwo, as we now have only the Zekrom in the bag. They go for a charge move here. That's going to be a very, very difficult one to still win. Avalanche and the Wild Charge coming through, which actually going to allow you to go for a charge move here, which is going to be dropping. Yeah, this is going to get the knockout here. If they didn't go for the Wild Charge and just went for a Crunch or the Outrage, they would have been fine most likely, but they didn't do this, and this was definitely their mistake as well. As now, of course, with the double defense drop, it's a little bit easier to knock out those Zekroms with the resisted moves. We're going to see now the Lugia coming in. I would have went for a Sacred Fire here if I was you, because this is going to allow you to drop the attack maybe, but we want to see the swap out immediately into the Baxcalibur, which I also don't agree in. I would have went into my what's called Kyogre instead, because Kyogre would allow you to at least have neutral damage from both the fast as well as the charge boost. But here, for example, now the Dragon Tail, as you can see, does chunk quite a bit, but you can even go for another Dragon Claw before you're going to go down, which is going to be nice for you. Does not knock out the opponent's Lugia, and I think they have a move stored, so you're most likely going to swap into your Ho-Oh here, and they can still go for a charge move. I guess if you went into the Kyogre, you might have been able to knock them out in time, but it's only going to be a Sky Attack anyway, so you're going to be able to survive it. Let's see what's coming in here. It's going to be the Landorus, as you can go for the Sacred Fire. I agree with this play. You should swap out now into your Kyogre, which you don't do. Yeah, you want to swap out there, I think, but like I would have swapped out earlier already. Stone Edge coming through. You're gonna go for the knockout now with Brave Bird. Go for Brave Bird, please. Okay, you're going to swap out onto the charge move, which I guess works out as well for you right now, but it's a little bit risky, as you're going to see now. Actually, the Dialga in the back, which is going to work out fairly well for you if you can get the moves off. It seems like you have some weak connection here right now. And the Iron Head is going to get the knockout. You're going to go for the Sacred Fire here, please. Thank you. This is going to be neutral, and I think it might get the knockout against them with a little bit of fast move damage here. And now you're going to have a Sacred Fire loaded up for the opponent's Landorus, winning this game as well. But a lot of things that you can definitely still improve on in terms of the gameplay. Final game for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. But we're gonna have now a Dialga in the lead, which is fairly decent for you, especially as the Dialga is not fully XL yet. We will see the Sacred Fire coming through. Going to get nearly a knockout here already. You can shield this move up if you want to, and I think that's fair, but like, yeah, we're going to see the Iron Head coming through, which is of course not ideal. And we're going to have a Rayquaza coming in, which is also really bad for you. You're going to go for the bait first. That's going to try to get the attack drop, which you don't get. It's a 50% chance, so like you don't really have to expect it all the time. But the Breaking Swipe is going to not get the knockout. I actually thought it would easily knock you out, by the way, but it does not. And you can still go for a Dragon Claw. Great play here. I would have shielded, and I would have definitely been in a trap there, so that's going to be great. I think also because Rayquaza is not fully XL yet, but we will see the Kyogre coming in, going for the Breaking Swipe against you, going to be a little okay for you, and we see the Xerneas again. Remember for the next matchup afterwards, maybe shield this move up, by the way, or not, that your Ho is going to be able to resist everything here, so it would have been most likely a bit easier to keep the Kyogre a little bit healthy, but I think you're going to be fine, as definitely the Rayquaza is going to go down here from just one Origin Pulse. Oh, I don't know if the surf is going to be enough. Let's take a look at this one. It's kind of risky. It is enough, but Origin Pulse would have been so much better. So yeah, definitely a lot to improve for you. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully this was helpful for the people that watched it. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.